Over to you. I'll stop sharing.
There's a couple of questions in the chat too, Mike.
Thank you.
Answer to the first one is yes, you can have as many templates as you like. Are you able to edit the agenda after the meeting? Yes, you can. And it's actually a good idea to change it. Like supposing you had a different speaker at the last minute, put their name in so that the history is telling you what actually happened and not what was meant to happen. And at this point, I need to share the screen and do a quick, oops, one thing at a time. So I am logged in as admin. I'll go through it that way. It's probably easier. And we are looking at meeting agenda settings. And this is where the templates live. And I'm going to set up a new template. It's going to be fairly brief. I'm not going to try and do a full meeting. We haven't got the time. So a new agenda, or we'll just call it, not being very original here, sorry. And we don't want to start the meeting at midnight, I don't think. I'm going to make it 1300. I'm a bit of a 24-hour clock freak, so please bear with me on that. And so we save that. And here we are. We start. And for this one, we'll begin with, notice how it's pulling up suggestions from other templates that are already there. You do incidentally get a default template, or possibly two of them from TI, but they are the way that Americans do it. Now, I won't worry about descriptions, but you can see that that's there. This one might be, probably 1 minute. And Toastmaster. Yes, we want the Toastmaster to be able to sign up. It should appear on the printed agenda. And we want the Toastmaster to be able to edit this particular, any meetings from this template. So we'll put it there and save. So there we are, it's already there, and notice that the time is calculated. And then the next one I'm going to do is a speaker.
Probably a good idea.
Well, I suppose you could have a meeting just of table topics.
It's been done.
And I'll just put something in. And we'll give them 7 minutes. If you don't want to put the bits that say Toastmaster introduces speaker, etc., you may want to put a little bit of extra time in there to allow for transitions. And if you're set on keeping your agenda to one page, that can be very useful. Now here we click, this is a speech. We want to, that means all that manual and intro stuff will show. I don't think we want them to be able to edit, so we'll leave that as it is.
They can edit their own information though, Jane.
Yes. When the member is logged in, they can edit their own things. Incidentally, because this is a template, yes, you can put a name in there and it will appear on every agenda from that template. And you might
Jane, sorry, can I just ask a question? So you put in 8 minutes to allow for transition, but how's that going to affect the timing as it shows on the agenda?
Well, it will show us 8 minutes, but if you want to, you could put something like this.
Okay, cool.
But it doesn't calculate it doesn't bring up the timing automatically, and that will depend partly on what project they're doing. So we've got 2 so far. And now we need an evaluator, because Toastmasters always evaluate everything, always evaluate everything. And that's 2 to 3, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
And we also need to play with that. It's easy to overlook that one, and I might put the 4 minutes in there to allow for the transition. They can sign up, it appears on the agenda, it's not a speech, right? Then we'll have a whoops, and I forgot, didn't I? So I can go back here. And change that to, oh, timer doesn't need that long, make it 2.
Yep. And if you happen to be, if you have had a timer's introduction where they tell the meeting what devices they're going to use to rein in the DTMs, then that's another one where you can put the asterisks either side to signify that the person is going to be on more than once.
And I'm just adding the final Postmaster concludes meeting. You see, I've used the asterisks to show that, yes, it's the same person. Now, if you want to add, Barry has a question, I believe.
It's not a question. Just speak about the editing buttons, and when you have only 2 speeches but you want to put a 3rd one in, there's a little bit of extra work to do, isn't there?
Yes, there is. I was just
each
going
new
to.
item adds at the bottom. Every new item you put adds at the bottom, and that's why you had no problem there. Over to you.
And this is where this role can edit the meeting agenda comes in, because that allows you to add additional roles. Is that correct, Jane?
Yes. But that would be for the agenda, not the template. We're working on the template at the moment.
Yep.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. So this one, a lot of the functions, that the process of editing an agenda and editing a template is actually the same.
Mm.
And sometimes you can end up forgetting which one you're working on. Don't ask me how I know. So now we've got our second speaker is in the wrong place. So what we do is grab that and move it up. And save. And there we are. And the times have automatically been recalculated. Now the pencil button is the edit button, and that's where you can change things around. I think I might like to add another minute there. And if there's anything here that we want to alter, or you can put stuff in here and you can change that. Though probably, unless there's a glaring mistake, better to leave it as it is, because once you start changing that, it affects your history reports, because the system has to look up something else. We'll save that one.
Just a question here, Jane. If you change a template, does that affect all the agendas on that template, or any of those are only those that you create after you change the template?
only the ones you create afterwards.
Thank you.
I like to think of the templates in the working agendas as photocopies. If you have a piece of paper and you photocopy it, if you then write on that paper subsequently, nothing happens to your copies. But if you write on the paper and you photocopy it a second time, then of course those copies will have it. So I hope that's helpful. And so now that we've got our new template there, and I think we have another question.
Yep, Mark.
Yeah, thanks, Jane. Just on the in Easy Speak as a comparison, there's some restrictions, things like that it doesn't like you're doing. For example, if you're assigning an award, so the best evaluator, it doesn't recognize that the timer and the grammarian and the R counter are also evaluators, so you can't award that in there. Is there any restrictions in FreeToast Host where it and there's also some roles you can't change? Is it pretty fluid as to what the naming of the roles and things that you can add?
Yes, it is pretty fluid. I was involved with a bilingual Maori club and had to deal with that because we had the roles labelled in both languages. I think there might have been one or two things which would have been more to do with restrictions on the part of the programming languages than anything else. But certainly we made it work.
Yeah, you can always you could always create roles for presenting each award, and in FreeToast Host. And for instance, best speaker, choose from, best evaluator, choose from, evaluators, table topics, evaluators, etc., and do it that way. You probably have to have a minute for each one, and they will be presented by the same person. But in theory, you can set that up. It just depends on how many pages you want on your agenda. I know Silver Service, for example, has that type of structure, but who is eligible for each award is done on the voting slips. So there's all sorts of different ways of doing it. Jane.
I'm not sure why that's not behaving itself.
Maybe it's had an upgrade.
Maybe I'm just suffering from what do you call it? There we are.
No.
But basically, I was going to show you, here's our new template, which we've just been working on. And we want to update the time. And we'll save that. And here we are. And because I'm not logged in as a member, I can't directly do anything, but I can use the edit button and decide that I'm going to put somebody in. Right. I'm going to be me.
And Jane, Ashley has to leave now. This recording is going to continue, so the only piece that you'll be missing physically is the sources of help for dealing with FreeToast Host, and that'll be on the recording. Jane.
Okay, thank you. And there was just one final thing I wanted to show here. This is an existing agenda. Now I have to remember where this jolly thing lives. No, you can save as new agenda. There is one somewhere, save as template.
Yeah. I think that actually comes in from the template, so you can edit an existing one and then save it as a new template.
Right, yes, it's there.
just in the same way as you said earlier, the two are very much in parallel. So you can say edit an agenda and save as a new agenda as well.
Where did you say that function was, Mike?
Well, if Jane goes down the bottom here,
No,
no, it's where you create a new template, or in this case, you create a new agenda. You've got the ability to, there we go. So you're editing an existing agenda, and at the bottom you see
here it is. Here it is.
save it as a new agenda, and save it as an agendas template. Yeah.
So if I do that, and I'll call it short meeting.
Interesting. What am I doing wrong? Because I cannot.
I'll close. Oh, why is it doing that? It's taking its time.
Yep. We don't forget this is all on a server somewhere on Mars, I think.
Well, Amazon, I believe, but
Okay, it's on Amazon. It's probably they're having a quick denial of service attack on Amazon.
no, I'm not going to mark that as reconciled. There we go. I don't know what it thinks it's done here. Something has gone round in circles. It's probably me having a senior moment. But I think you get the idea that you can create new agendas. Well, it looks like I've got a second one for the 7th of December. Yes, there are 2 of them there. That can be tricky, and it's a good idea to delete the one you don't want as soon as possible before it confuses the heck out of everybody else.
May as well do that so you can show the delete process.
Okay. So here it asks you, do you want to delete? And the reason why we do this is because you would have no idea how many people were deleting agendas without meaning to before this was put in.
Mm. Oh, why did you delete the agenda? Just to see if I could.
Oh, maybe one of the kids yelled at the wrong time, or the pot boiled over on the stove, who knows? Anyway, I think that more or less covers what I was going to say. And I'll pass back to Mike and any questions.